Hey guys, welcome to the channel. This is my 2024 BMW M2, and in this video I'm going to go over why I chose this car over all the competition and why I chose this car over the Mustang Dark Horse. If you guys don't know, I made a video a while back saying that I'm going to be getting the 2024 Mustang Dark Horse. Obviously plans have changed and I got this M2 instead. I'm also going to go over why I chose it over a RS3 and also a M3. So stay tuned. Let's go and hop inside and go for a little drive. All right guys, setting off here. So first off, I want to mention all of these cars I'm talking about are all excellent options. The RS3 is an amazing car. The Dark Horse seems to be an amazing car. I've only driven it a couple times. We have some on our lot. If you guys don't know, I do work at a Ford dealership, so let me know if you're interested. The M3 is obviously an amazing car as well, but I chose the M2 out of all of those options, and I'm going to explain to you why. So let's go ahead and first start off with the RS3. So my initial plan, if you guys don't know, I ordered a RS3 in December of 2022. I ordered a 2023 RS3. No update at all from Audi as far as the RS3's order is concerned. So I ordered it, waited basically a year, still no update. I had to reorder a 2024. So the RS3's was taking way too long, and not like I'm in any sort of rush, but you know, the Audi RS3 came out in 2022, and so I ordered a 23 model, and then it's going to take even longer, so it's going to be a 24 model. And you know, a lot of stuff can happen in 2-3 years. You know, new models come out. You know, the RS3 will get kind of older in its lifespan. You know, 2025 would make what, 3 or 4 model years. So the reason why I didn't want to do that is because, again, I was waiting too long, and you know, I wanted something that I can enjoy in the moment and not have to wait forever to get. Now, as far as the car itself, it's priced right, because my budget was kind of like between 60 and 80. That was like my budget to get like a nice car. So it's priced right. It's right within my budget. It looks good. I don't have any complaints with the way it looks. I mean, there's a few fake vents and stuff on the back, and the oval exhaust tips I don't think look as good as the S line that has the quad exhaust tips, but I like the way it looks. It looks really cool. It gets really good gas mileage. But one of the reasons why I didn't get the RS3 is because if I got that, I'd have to get rid of my Golf. Well, I wouldn't have to, but it would only make sense to get rid of the Golf, because the RS3 and the Golf can do the same thing. They're both 4-door all-wheel drive cars. They're both on the MQB chassis, so it wouldn't make sense to have both of them. And to be honest with you, I wasn't ready to give up my Golf yet. Like, I love my Golf R. I plan on keeping it long term, so I didn't want to get rid of it. And like I said, having the RS3 and the Golf just wouldn't make sense. They're two cars that do the same thing. And another thing I was worried about with the RS3 is that, you know, it's $20,000 basically more expensive than a Golf R, and I was worried that it would be too similar to my Golf R. It has the same 7-speed dual clutch, although it is a beefed up version of it. I think it's called like the DQ 581 or whatever they call it. But it has the same 7-speed dual clutch. You know, it's on the same platform. It has the same little like nugget shifter thing. You know, it's an Audi, so it's a different car, but it's kind of like the same car, if that makes sense. So I kind of didn't want to do that. I didn't want to spend a whole bunch of money just to have the same car again, even though that kind of counteracts what I did with my GTI going to the Golf R. But I feel like the GTI to the Golf R, they're, you know, from front wheel drive to all wheel drive, and the Golf R looks so much better. So I justified that situation there. I felt like it was worth the price increase. But going from the Golf R to the RS3, I just don't know if that would, you know, I hear really good things about the 5-cylinder engine, and I hear that the RS3 is a great car to drive and everything, but I was just kind of like, I don't know. And then for 2024, they made red no longer available. If you guys can tell, I like metallic red cars or sports cars. So red was no longer available for 2024, so that kind of made me a little disappointed. So I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna get something else. So that's why I didn't go with the RS3. Nothing against the RS3. I'm sure I'd absolutely love that car if I owned it, but that's why I didn't go with that one. So next up, let's talk about the Mustang Dark Horse. So I apologize if you guys were excited about seeing a Dark Horse on the channel, but unfortunately, just after weighing all the pros and cons and everything, I felt like the M2 was just a much better value than the Dark Horse. If you guys don't know, the Dark Horse I ordered, I'll just tell you guys now because I'm not taking it. The Dark Horse I ordered is a 2020 4 Dark Horse manual premium, and I ordered it in Vapor Blue. Now I'm sure it's going to be a cool car when it comes in and everything like that, but after driving the automatic Dark Horse, we had one on our lot, it drives too similar to my Mustang I had, my 2020 Mustang GT. It drives too similar to that car. Yeah, the brakes are a little bit better. Yeah, it feels a little bit more buttoned down, but it feels like the same car pretty much, other than the upgraded screens. So I've already owned 2 Mustangs. I owned a 19 EcoBoost and then my 20 GT afterwards. And I feel like getting another Mustang would be kind of like getting the same thing, especially since it's not a whole new platform. I know they call it the S650, but it's basically an S550 with a heavy refresh, basically, is the way I look at it. I look at the S650 Mustang the same way I look at the 09 to the 2010 Mustang, where they do a big refresh and stuff, but it's still kind of like the same basic platform. The bright side of the Dark Horse is that it sounds amazing. If I got the Dark Horse, I would keep both cars, so I wouldn't, you know, feel the need to get rid of my Golf R, so I'd keep both of them. You know, it has the V8 and all that. I love that part of it. I work at a Ford dealership, so I can get a decent price on one. The downside to the Dark Horse, and this is nothing against Mustangs at all, they're amazing cars, they have their purpose, but the downside to the Mustang is that the fit and finish isn't all there. You know, it kind of bothers me when if I spend $65,000 or whatever it ends up costing, $65,000 on a car, and it, you know, body panels don't line up, there's still creaks and rattles and stuff that I experienced with my Mustang I got for $32,000 back in the day. Now, granted, that was with dealer discount, or I should say employee pricing and rebates. Feel free to check out that video. I did make a video on that. But it feels like I'm spending 65 grand for a $30,000 to $40,000 car. And I know that might sound kind of ridiculous to some people, but the Mustang is amazing if you get a base GT or a more basic GT, like automatic or something, because then you're not spending too much money and it's worth the price point. When you spend over 60 grand on a Mustang, it just, for me, it just doesn't make sense. Unless it's like a Shelby GT500 that'll hold value and it's supercharged and everything like that. But it just doesn't seem to make sense to me. I kind of had regrets about getting a manual. I just like fast shifting automatics, and Ford did do a pretty good job improving the 10-speed for 2024, but it's still not nearly as good as the ZF 8-speed in this car. The 10-speed can still be a little sloppy. There's 10 gears to go through. It's 10 gears. So if you like using paddle shifters, like I like using the paddles every now and then. My Golf R is a 7-speed dual clutch. This is an 8-speed automatic. It's nice being able to use the paddles when you have 7, 8 gears, because then, you know, you can use it and it's enjoyable. When there's 10 gears, there's so many gears to go through that it's not really enjoyable anymore. So the paddle shifters are kind of iffy. Another thing I noticed when I drove the automatic Dark Horse that we had on our lot is the traction control is very intrusive. So in my Mustang that I had, if I turned it off the one setting, it'll let you slide to the side a little bit, it'll let you spin in a straight line, everything's good. In the new Mustang, what I've noticed is even if you turn it off on the one setting, traction control cuts out your power so fast that you can't even get it sideways. And I wouldn't want to turn it all the way off, because then you risk, you know, running into crowds and stuff like that. You really got to know what you're doing. But in my Mustang, I can turn it off one setting, slide it out, and it slides really nicely and doesn't let me get out of hand. The new one, it just cuts it so fast that and it cuts the throttle, braking, or whatever it does, it just cuts it down if you get sideways at all. So that's a little disappointing. The 5.0 is an excellent engine. It sounds good, it has good mod potential if you boost it and stuff like that, or E85. But unfortunately, with a naturally aspirated 5.0, there's just not that much power you can get out of it without boosting it. You can't really get that much power out of it. Like with this car being twin turbo, you know, you do a simple tune or downpipe and tune and you have crazy horsepower. The Mustang just doesn't have that potential to do that. And another thing I've grown to really appreciate about this car is the low end torque. Mustangs, they're amazing up top, like 4,500 RPM and above. They drive really good, they have good power and all that stuff, but where they really lack is a low end torque. And this car, I can be at 2,500 RPM, 3,000 RPM. If I dip into the throttle a little bit, I'll get a huge surge of torque. You know, the benefits of having a twin turbo, you get all that torque low end. And these S58s, they have good top end and they have good low end torque. So you get the best of both worlds with this engine in comparison to a 5.0. Now the 5.0 is going to sound better all day. There, you know, there's no arguing that. Well, I guess everyone has their own taste in sound, but the 5.0 is going to sound better. You know, it's naturally aspirated. It's probably going to be very reliable long term, but this engine just has so much more potential, and it's so much more enjoyable to drive this one around, in my opinion. Next up, let's talk about why I didn't get an M3 over this M2. The reason I didn't get an M3, for one, the price is really expensive on M3s, because the one that I would want would be a competition X-Drive. And those, like, to get them like fully optioned out and stuff with the stuff I would want, they're like $90,000+. So M3s are extremely expensive, and I hate to be one of those guys that are on the bandwagon, but I haven't warmed up to the grille. I know the styling on the M2 is controversial as well, but I actually like the styling on this car. The M3 looks amazing from every angle except for the grills. I still can't get over the grills. And, you know, I've seen some in like darker colors and stuff where it looks good, it's like passable. Like, for example, this car, I think in red looks amazing, but Brooklyn gray and that blue color, Zandvoort or whatever, I think the M2 looks super ugly in those colors. Like, you know, that's the color that they were advertising and stuff on the M2, is those ugly colors, and it just looks horrible in my opinion. I see why people would not like the way they look. I think in this red color, it really pops. It really looks like a sports car. It really looks nice. But anyway, not to get off on a tangent there. Another thing is I'd get rid of my Golf to get the M3 competition, and I like having two cars. I wouldn't want to have, you know, a $90,000 M3 sitting in the garage with 4 doors as like my weekend car, because it just doesn't make sense. It's a 4-door car, you can drive it every day, it's all-wheel drive, it makes sense to drive it every day. But I wouldn't want to daily drive a M2 or a M3. The reason why is because you know, like the brakes on these cars are really expensive to replace, the tires are really expensive to replace. You don't want to pile miles on a BMW because it's gonna sink the trade-in value, and then, you know, you're gonna run out of warranty fast and everything. So I really like my setup now, where I have this car as one I drive for fun and you know, keep it nice and clean and stuff. And I love having my Golf R as a daily driver, because that's still an amazing car, and I love driving my Golf R. I'm just not ready to get rid of it. When you daily drive a car, it just gets dirty. You know, it sits in the lot at work, getting dust and stuff on it. You know, it sits in the sun all day. You know, that's just part of having a daily driver. So, for example, I want to talk about Corvettes. So Corvettes are great weekend cars, because every time I see a Corvette that's been daily driven, it's always hammered. The bottom is all scratched up, the seats are all blown out. It's not nice like it's supposed to be. I'll let this guy go. Why is he waiting on me? Okay, well, I'll go then. Like my Golf R, oftentimes it's dirty, it has bugs on it and stuff, just because it's my daily driver. I can't clean it every single day. So one thing I like about having the two-car thing is I have this car to look nice and, you know, always be clean and everything like that. And my Golf R is my daily driver, and, you know, that gets the daily driver stuff on it, but I can still clean it every now and then. So I like having that flexibility of having two cars. And if I got an M3, I'd have a 4-door car and stuff, and it just wouldn't make sense to have both of them. Because not only is the M3 extremely expensive, but it's just not a car that needs to sit in a garage. It's a car that you need to drive. Okay, we're gonna take off a little bit here. See, that low end torque is just amazing. And the transmission is so smooth. It's so smooth. Like, this is an amazing combo. The S58 engine, ZF 8-speed, drives amazing. So out of all these options, what kind of drew me to having the M2? So for one, it was right in my price range. This one was $70,000 MSRP, so right smack dab in the middle. Also, I love this engine, the S58, you know, so much tuning potential. BMW makes really good inline sixes. I love the ZF 8-speed automatic. I feel like it's the best torque converter automatic, hands down. Especially in these M cars, they have it tuned like really snappy and really smooth. So you can have it be, like, you can even adjust like the shift firmness and stuff. So you can have it be buttery smooth, or you can have it be super snappy and just bang off the shifts. So it's the best of both worlds. I actually really like the way the M2 looks. I like the fact that it's a coupe. I like all the features on it, these nice big screens. I love the LED headlights. It has the cornering lights. I like the steering wheel and the look of the interior, and I love the wide body that M cars get. It's just a really nice car. I just really like it so far. So that's why. that's my reasoning. I hope you guys found this video interesting or informative. Again, nothing against the other options I mentioned. They're all amazing vehicles. It's just all of those things combined and all the checks and balances and all the things I weighed against each other, the M2 is the clear winner. But if you guys enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Stay tuned.